directors. And I believed so much in the concept, in the ideas. I did my survey before we took over. The market is there, right? And I now told them that I wanted to borrow. In reality, one of them actually sent a top official in that state to visit us, and they told me how much they could afford to give me on the basis of what they could see on ground. But do you know what I can tell? 2 years after running the place, if I had borrowed the money as at today, despite my relationship with probably the bank that would have financed it, as I'm talking to you now, I would have defaulted, and probably they would have taken over the asset of the organization. Because within the first 1.5 years of running that organization, we were generating consistently losses. Not because I was doing anything wrong, but you see, what I'm thinking is that there's always the learning curve. Somebody is starting a business, the risk is huge. Until you get into the stream or into the river, you cannot talk about your dexterity and your ability at swimming. Now, until you actually start the business, no matter what you see, no matter what you think you know, until you start it in reality, you cannot know the extent of risk you are taking.
Of course, yes.
So how risky is it? A business you are just starting and you are going to borrow money at all?
Yeah. Again, it's not always advisable, like you said, to start off on loan. Okay, it's not always advisable, especially because I always advise. Okay, some people might like, okay, I need a business plan. Most time when banks or financial institutions ask for business plan, I feel it's just a procedural thing. Business plan does not really tell you the reality, like you said, until you get into the pool and swim before we can be sure that you really understand the techniques that you require. So
no, sometimes what you even get, for example, when we're starting, we look at the previous owners, we looked at the major market they had, and we went there with promises. But do you know that if we had as a matter of fact, we built the business plan and proposition and everything on that major market. They only patronized us once in 2 years.
Yeah, there will be a lot of reasons for that. There will be a lot of feedback from the market or the customers or what have you. But the truth is, like you said, you must be in that market. You must be in that process, in that business, to really be able to. And it takes a while. It takes a while. That is why, I want to align that it's always tough to start business on loan. Okay, and it's always not too advisable to start big. And no matter the large volume of funds you have, okay, except it's a fun nature of business that you have what we call, perhaps I want to call it off-takers. I mean, you produce, somebody buy it over from you. If it's not such, and you're like going to produce, and then sell.
But you see, even if there are off-takers, in our kind of business, I can tell you there are off-takers. But do you know, a typical example, in the last how many days, we've not had electricity. All our machines are not working, so we cannot afford to use generator, because if we should include the cost of diesel, the price goes too high.
Yeah.
And I think it was just this afternoon that electricity was restored. So even if there are off-takers, let me give you an example during COVID. Because they could not go to patronize other manufacturers, they all shifted their attentions to us. So we began to collect money even in advance, but eventually we ran into problem because we found out that there were challenges, machines breaking down today, and then the process of fixing it, those that had paid you in advance are looking for the product. All right, I think the conclusion should be, you should start a business to learn and never borrow money to start. You should rather save over time.
Let me correct something you just said. You shouldn't start a business to learn. You should have done your learning before starting the business. And that is where the major problem is. Okay, so if it's a business that you have been part of, you have seen some of the challenges or teaching problem based on experience. Because when you say experience, it shouldn't be your own experience. Experience should be someone else's experience. So the moment
Okay,
your own
let me give you a
experience-
typical example. And I'm liking this discussion. Unfortunately, we might not have a lot of time on our hands. For example, I have always been in the capital market. I have always been in the media, running over 20 years or 21 years now in the media. That was my first experience there.
Yeah.
The opportunity for me to go and learn and to begin to gather experience was not just there.
You have experience running business.
Yes, I
But
did.
not the exact business. I mean, there are different businesses.
But you
about
see,
stock,
manufacturing
Yeah.
is a totally different issue
Exactly.
from the kind of business I was doing before. One thing you have to now cope with in manufacturing, machines break down.
Yeah.
Number two, you need to now understand, you see, the kind of businesses I was doing before, the psychology, the mentality, the reasoning, all right, because of the academic composition of those that have had to work before, are totally different from these people.
Yeah.
Most people in the factory are semi-illiterates. So the way they reason is different from
Exactly.
So there's no way you will not learn. And meanwhile, I want to just submit that when you're talking about business, your learning process is more or less forever, because there are so many things that will be emerging. New technology, new system, new government policy, new introduction, new competitors, things you never
In fact,
even...
what you must also know as part of the learning is that, okay, you might say, okay, I have the idea, I'm very good at account. You also need to learn marketing.
Yeah.
You need to learn human resources. Because as the business even grow and expand, there are new things that will come that you need to learn. And I'll say this to entrepreneurs, or I've experienced and I've seen this, that most businesses die because one, the entrepreneur, their owners, refuse to grow. And when they are unable to grow, you know what they do? They suppress the business so that it can still be within their controls. And that's happening a lot in Nigeria. A lot of business, that, like, ask yourself, how many businesses are 100 years old? How many are 50 years old? Does it mean that those businesses could not outlive their owners? All right, that's why most businesses die once the proprietor or the owner die. So what has happened is that we need to always also leverage on expertise.
I don't know where you are going to be next week, because our time is spent now and I've got to release you. But one issue we've been able to conclude is that, one, it is not ideal to borrow money to start a business.
At all.
Number two, you should not start a business purely as a learner. You must have acquired a measure of experiences
skills,
before you start a business.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding, the learning process is continuous,
Yeah.
because you continue to grow, and if you do not grow, you suppress the business, you kill the business. If that is all we've been able to share today, I think we've done enough. I want to appreciate you so well for creating the time to be here.
Thank
But
you.
what I want us to look at largely next week is, you talked about when the owners die. What are the ingredients that you need to impute in your business so that the business will not die with you?
Okay, one of the things that's very important is what we call succession.
Succession.
Succession starts from the day you start the business.
We take it up from there.
Thank you.
First Money is Nigeria's biggest and most preferred agent banking network. Thanks to First Money, millions of people are living their dreams. Meet some First Money agents who are driving this.
First Money is the best POS that we use in my area. I started with one container beside me. This is my main branch. I have up to 7 branches.
With First Money, I've been able to employ 6 staffs, which 5 are female. So I see First Money as a business to employ and also to empower ladies.
Through First Money, over 1 million people across Nigeria have their financial services needs met daily. In all the accessible local government areas, you are bound to find First Money agents. With First Money, we're bringing financial inclusion and the many benefits that come with it. You first, First Bank.